There are a lot of superheroes who are powerful magic users in comic books. We've often discussed which are the most powerful or which pulled off the most impressive feats. But a question we haven't answered is, which Hogwarts house would they be in? Welcome to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Amazing Amanda.
I'm Alpha Flight Andrew.
And I'm your man, Adam.
Today, we are doing our first ever Top Commenter Appreciation video. We looked at which of our subscribers commented on the most videos, drew their name from a hat, and determined that our good pal Rodney Lindsay was our first winner.
Woo! He got to pick the topic of this video and who he wanted to host it, and he decided it was time for the AAA nerds, that's us, to team up to tell you about the top 10 magical superheroes and their Hogwarts houses.
Number 10, Etrigan. How to explain the origin of Etrigan in a way that won't get this video banned? Well, when a mommy demon and a daddy demon are at war and want to broker a peace, they will copulate on top of the bodies of their fallen soldiers and make a demon baby. Yes, I am totally serious. The demon Etrigan was first summoned to Earth by the wizard Merlin in an attempt to save Camelot from destruction. When that failed, Merlin bound Etrigan to Jason Blood. The two have been a force for good and evil over the years, but Etrigan's love of causing pain is often barely kept in check by Jason. For example, in Action Comics number 637, Jason and Etrigan are hired to perform an exorcism on a child. They succeeded, but Etrigan immediately decided the kid looked like dinner, and was only dissuaded when Jason threatened to end his own life. Also, Etrigan only speaks in rhyme, which makes everything he does have an even creepier edge to it, like a evil Lin-Manuel Miranda. The demon Etrigan is ambitious to conquer and is nothing if not proud and resourceful. He has all of the worst Slytherin tendencies that made them such a nightmare in the books. But what about Jason Blood? For much of his life, he would also be a vicious monster until his mind was wiped and he became a good man saddled with a demon he can barely keep in check. He was rid of Etrigan at one point, but took the demon back in a selfless act of bravery to save the world. I think Jason is a Gryffindor, and in another fun Harry Potter link, Jason actually wields the DC Comics version of the Philosopher's Stone. Oh, sorry, the Sorcerer's Stone.
Number 9, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is one of my all-time favorite magic users in comics. I absolutely love Wanda. She's a complex character who's been through hell and back. She's been a hero, a villain, and pretty much everything in between at this point. But what would the sorting hat see were to be placed upon her head and made to sort her into the most fitting Hogwarts house? I think when it comes to Wanda, I've always seen her as someone who is extremely powerful, more powerful even than she sometimes gives herself credit for. She is determined, refusing to often back down, even when the odds are stacked against her. She's resourceful, often managing to do things deemed impossible even by other magic users, who some might consider more knowledgeable even than her. For all of these reasons and more, I could see Wanda fitting right in with me and House Slytherin. And I don't just say that as both a Slytherin myself and a Scarlet Witch fan, because obviously I want her to be in my house. I mean, according to my more recent test, I'm actually apparently a Ravenclaw anyways, so I guess I'm more like some kind of weird Slitherclaw hybrid apparently in the present. I personally feel like when it comes to Wanda, it's her determination, sometimes her desperation, and her inability often to back down that really sticks out to me when it comes to her character, and we all know that ambition is a main house trait among Slytherins, and apparently being evil is, according to Andrew, so watch out for Wanda.
Number 8, Shazam. Billy Batson is just a wee lad who, thanks to the wizard Shazam, could transform into a powerful magical hero named Captain Marvel, or if you prefer, just Shazam. By saying his magic word, he gained an array of attributes including the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. Shazam has proven himself to be nearly as strong as Superman, but I think it's easy to forget that a lot of his real power comes in the form of his magical abilities. So sure, he's powerful, but that doesn't play into Hogwarts houses as much. There are powerful witches and wizards in every corner. After talking it over, I think Billy could teeter between Gryffindor and Hufflepuff. No one can argue that Billy isn't courageous, brave, adventurous, daring, and loyal, all traits of a Gryffindor, but at the same time, his Marvel family means a lot to him. Teamwork has been important to his character many times in the past. He's incredibly kind, but I wouldn't say he's particularly hard-working. Then again, Hufflepuffs are also sometimes known for being somewhat kinda lazy at times. No offense, sorry. If I had to pick one though, considering the lion's share of his traits, and I mean color scheme, I know just what to do with you. Gryffindor!
Number 7. Khalid Nassour. Khalid Nassour, aka Dr. Fate, or at least a Dr. Fate if you will. Khalid is one of the newest to take up the mantle of Dr. Fate, and honestly I kinda love him as a younger, fresher take on this character. I would say based on all of his actions that I've seen whilst reading him in Justice League Dark, I would probably put him in Gryffindor House, which I feel like might be a common one on this list, to be honest, because I mean, you know, most superheroes are brave, right? Like obviously Shazam was gonna be a Gryffindor, but this isn't just me saying, you know, Khalid's a hero so I bet he's a Gryffindor. I just feel like when it comes to his approach to heroics, he really is the one to do the unthinkable thing in order to get that job done. I was considering that because he's willing to do whatever it takes as a hero, he might even be Slytherin. Maybe I just want everyone to be a Slytherin. It's a fine line we walk between these two houses though. But in the end I think Gryffindor House is most where he belongs, and we see this early on with his appearance in Justice League Dark, where we learned that one night he followed his great uncle Kent Nelson, who at the time was possessed by Naboo, the Lord of Order, and basically ended up sneaking into a pretty important meeting, a gathering of the Lords of Order. For this at the time, Khalid would be imprisoned in a vase because the Lords of Order, you know, didn't want their plans getting out. Khalid, with the help of Man-Bat, would escape and ultimately be able to warn the Justice League Dark of things to come, and also help to free his great uncle Kent Nelson from the Helm of Fate, through which Naboo had basically possessed him at that point, using his avatar in essence as a puppet.
Number 6. Raven. The daughter of the demon Trigon, it was Trigon's intention that Raven reshape the Underrealms in his image. Fortunately, she was taught by the monks of Azarath to overcome her father's influence, and she became a hero instead of an interdimensional evil demon spawn. Whenever she loses control of her emotions, she becomes vulnerable to Trigon's influence. This led to her destroying Azarath before being killed by the Teen Titans. She has flip-flopped back and forth a lot over the years, but usually manages to overcome her father's influence and help the heroes. Due to her goth kid status and relationship to demons, it would be easy to assume that she was a Slytherin, but although she certainly has cunning and determination, she tends not to push herself into leadership positions if she doesn't have to, and her unwillingness to take over the Underrealms shows that she has tempered her ambition. You might assume that because of her name, Raven would be in Ravenclaw, and though she could fit in there, I actually think there's a different house she is even better suited for. It is through hard work, dedication, and patience that she has learned to overcome her father's influence, and though she doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve, she is actually very kind and loyal to her fellow Titans, even over her own family. It's her defining trait. Shocking, I know, but Raven's a Hufflepuff.
Number 5. Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is an interesting one to talk about. The thing with his character is that he's kind of all over the place. Being the Sorcerer Supreme of the Marvel Universe, he needs to be so incredibly multifaceted, and he actually delivers on that. I almost want to just say that Stephen would be the headmaster of Hogwarts, but that feels like cheating, so let's break it down. What houses would the good doctor not be a part of? What about Hufflepuff? Of all the houses, this is the one where I think Stephen lacks the most. While he is hardworking for sure, I absolutely do not believe him to be trustworthy. He doesn't have the greatest moral compass, and he's not particularly as likable as most Hufflepuffs tend to be. While Stephen is brave, daring, and has a great deal of nerve, not to mention sometimes acts without thinking, I don't believe that Stephen possesses the chivalry that the Lions are so well known for, and so I would not place him in Gryffindor. Slytherin would be my runner-up for Stephen. While it has produced the most dark wizards, this misunderstood house has also produced some of the greatest wizards, including Merlin himself. Ambitious, sharp-witted, and shrewd, he is usually one step ahead like a Slytherin, and his reputation is also kind of a big deal for him, or at least it was before he was humbled. I think in his past he may have been able to fall into the Slytherin house, but since dedicating himself to learning almost all there is to learn about magic, becoming Sorcerer Supreme, and putting the importance of our reality over his own ambitions, not to mention his analytical thinking, overachieving, and his tendency to seclude himself away, I personally have to place Doctor Strange in Ravenclaw.
Number 4. Zatanna. Zatanna was an easy one for me to sort for some reason, although to be honest, she could fit well in almost any house I think if we think about it. Zatanna has a lot going on for her as a character. She is often determined, brave, and knowledgeable in various areas of magic, but at the same time, she's also a team player, makes friends easily, and overall is often empathetic to those around her or those in need. Now that's not to say that, you know, she always plays nice, or that, you know, she doesn't make mistakes. She definitely does, but at the same time I feel the fact that most characters are friends with Zatanna, and the fact that I feel like she has a strong moral compass, which is usually informed by her connection to others, that we have to call out across the Great Hall for Zatanna, Hufflepuff.
Number 3. Shaman. Dr. Michael Two Young Men was Canada's most brilliant surgeon before losing his wife in surgery caused him to recommit his life to learning the mystic ways of his people. He eventually became Shaman, one of the original members of Alpha Flight. The source of his powers is a mystical pouch, which contains anything he needs at any given time to perform his spells. He has been shown to be able to control plants as well as fire and the weather. He can also convene with spirits and animals, as well as project his astral form in a similar way to Doctor Strange. Shaman is incredibly smart, which makes him use these powers in really clever ways, making them even more effective. For example, when Guardian was almost murdered in X-Men Unlimited number 45, Shaman had the spirits of the air keep feeding air to Guardian's brain so that they could preserve his brain functions until they could get him proper medical attention. His character is defined by his wisdom and cleverness, and his commitment to excel as both a surgeon and a superhero shows great intellectual ability, and effectively using his magic pouch demands high degrees of creativity, making Shaman a perfect fit for Ravenclaw.
Number 2, John Constantine, or Constantine, or whatever the hell you want to say. John can wield magic for sure, through years and years of learning, training, traveling, but he doesn't have any kind of magical affinity as such, or any kind of beneficial magical family heritage. John relies on actual magic as a very last resort. The fact that he is practically self-made and has the personal gumption to learn all he has would initially make me think Ravenclaw for this character. But one of the biggest things about John is that using magic comes at a cost, and he knows this. So, what Constantine prefers is trickery, lies, deceit, traps, his wits, weapons, artifacts, backup, and calling in favors. John smokes, he drinks, he's in his middle ages, and he ain't in the greatest of health, but at the same time, he has been able to trick, outsmart, or overpower superheroes, gods, demons, and angels. And he's always smarmy as hell about it. He is certainly ambitious, shrewd, and the kind of person who is always one, if not multiple steps ahead. He has a dark sense of humor, but I don't believe he thinks reputation is that important, and he certainly doesn't care about his appearances so much. It's a bit of a hard choice, and while I am clearly and almost completely leaning towards Slytherin for this character, I do think he could very easily be a secret Gryffindor, to be completely honest. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below though. So let me know.
Number 1, Magik. This was another no-brainer for me. I mean, I feel like this character has such an energy about her. Magik walks into the room and her presence just fills it. And this is easy to pick up on even across the pages of a comic. When I'm reading comics aloud, my partner actually often does Magik's voice, and the attitude that he puts in there has become synonymous with the default sass that I just imagine Magik always has. It's an attitude, an air, and I love it. Magik is confident, often no nonsense, knows what she wants, and is not afraid to take it. It is for her confidence, and often, as Dumbledore would say, her disregard for the rules, that I'm certain Ilyana Rasputin also belongs with me in Hogwarts Slytherin House. Well, that's our list.
Make sure to let us know if you enjoyed our first ever commenter appreciation video. Who knows, you could be our next pick if you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
But before we sign off, for those who stuck around now, unless you were paying attention for Amanda's first point, you get to know our Hogwarts houses. My man Adam is a Gryffindor.
Alpha Flight Andrew is a Ravenclaw.
And of course, Amazing Amanda is a Slytherin.
No Hufflepuffs though. Well, maybe we'll get one once we add one more member to the Nerd Squad. I don't know, but that mystery will never be answered because this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you all in the next one. Bye!